Well, this is the same day, you can tell from my shirt, that we told the first part of that story. I will finish in a minute. But it's really sad when fathers have to be corrected by their sons. Richard told me that I called Dr. Scott a principal. Dr. Scott was the first principal of the Ocean Township High School. But by the time I went to Oakhurst School, he was the superintendent of schools. So you'll have to forgive me. Now, I told you the last time that the other schools were not very happy with me because I caused, they claimed, trouble. And Dr. Scott didn't think it was trouble. He thought it was a good thing. And so there was a time about the lunches, right? We talked about that. Well, when we started the mini courses, and they were working out very well, I got a call from one of the elementary administrators who said to me, "You can't do that." Wayside was open, Wanamassa School and Oakhurst School. And this person says, all the 3 elementary schools, to be fair, must do the same thing, and you're doing these mini courses and the other schools aren't. So I said to this person, "Have you been to Oakhurst School recently?" "Yes." "Are the facilities here equal to the facilities at the new Wayside School, or even to Wanamassa School?" "Well, no." I said, "Well, don't you think it's fair that I try to provide the boys and girls in this 75-year-old school with as interesting and well-meaning and informative education as I can? After all, we don't have a big gym. We don't have any sort of a library that's really a library." And this person said to me, "Oh, but we all have to do it the same." So I said, "You know what? You discuss it with Dr. Scott, and I'll be glad to be there." Never heard one more thing about it. So you see why I wasn't the favorite of anyone except Dr. Scott, who, when he went to Pennsylvania, I was the only member of the staff, the whole staff of Ocean Township, that he invited to go along. He wanted me to be, he was moving to a place called Upper Merion, Pennsylvania, very outside of Philadelphia, very rich neighborhood. And he wanted me to be director of elementary education, which meant that I would be in charge of all the elementary principals, and there must have been about 10 of them there. But you know what? I couldn't do it because I had ties to the shore. I loved being in Ocean Township. And I'll tell you one other thing. If I was in charge of the principals, when would I ever see the boys and girls? And I was there because I loved to be with kids. I told you I never grew up. And that's why I volunteer in the school now, in 4th and 5th grades, and I love being 10 years old all over again.
He even has a girlfriend in 10th grade.
Oh, yes, I have. Well, that's for another day, but her name is Dane, and she became attached to me, and she takes me all over. It's a school with lots of wings, old school like Oakhurst was. Maybe not as old, and it's got lots of different wings in it, and so I push a little pusher, I guess you would call it a
walker.
I push this walker, it's on wheels, and we go in the elevator, and she punches the button, and I always go in and stand in the corner facing the corner. Why do I do that? I said, I don't know, I just do that. And then the door's open, she says, Papa, it's time to turn around. She says. Okay, well anyhow, back to the intermediate school. Some of you asked about the library. Well, I wasn't really involved with the architects until the very end. And the building was well on its way to construction when I knew I was going to be the principal. So the library I couldn't change very much. The only thing I was allowed to change, and the board was not happy because it added thousands of dollars. I don't know why thousands of dollars, but I wanted, when the building was first planned, there was the secretary's office in each wing. That was repeated 3 times. Secretary's office. On one side was the principal, on the other side was the counselor, or the administrator of the wing. It was either me, or Mr. Donnie, or Mr. Fogler, or Mr. Pagano, or Mr. Galatro. Well, anyhow, there was solid wall on one side, and one of those spaces was supposed to be used for storage. And I said, oh no. We need those offices there. And they said, where will we keep the permanent records of the students? And I said, in each of the wings, where the children are. What good is it down in the main office? Well, they had to construct a door then into what became the counselor's office, so that the principal, the counselor, and the secretary could see each other without going out and going around the little section there. So that cost the board money. They didn't want to do that. Then when it came to putting, what do you want above the boys and girls doors? What little signs do you want there? Oh, I said I would like it to say young ladies and young gentlemen. After all, it's a middle school. Oh no. Would cost the board money for extra letters. Do you want men and women or boys and girls? So I settled for boys and girls, because if I had said men and women, I'm not sure you would have known where to go. Now the bathrooms were also very interesting, and I'll tell you stories about them another time, when all the lights went out. And of course, since there were no windows in the boys and girls room, they were pitch black inside. And I got in trouble for doing something about that too. Anyhow, the library. So the library, the center part was the pit. I don't know why we call it a pit. I guess because it was a pit. And there was a carpet around it, and that's where it was like a reading circle. It was a beautiful library, if I have to say so myself, even though I had nothing to do with it. Now, you remember there was a balcony around part of the library, and once we could get up steps. When I first went over there to look at the building, there were no steps. And so I couldn't get upstairs. So the next thing that happened was they put in the steps, and I took Sidney and Richard over to this new building. And we went upstairs. Now remember, it's being built. There was pieces of stone and rock, all over the place. And the first thing they did when they went out to the balcony was pick up a stone and throw it down over the railing. I said, oh my Lord, these are pretty good kids. What is ever going to happen when all the kids get there? There'll be books and spitballs and stones and marbles flying all over the library.
Say.
Okay.
That's it.
That's it.
Say something.
Oh, say something. But you were saying not to say
Right,
something.
end it.
Oh, I'll end it with my love to all of you. We'll be back, I promise.
Oy vey.